Okay, welcome back. I had a Raspberry Pi laying around the house. It's actually from my kid's Kano computer. If you are aware of Kano computers, they were a small PC that was handed out, well, sold for $99 in the store a few years back. And they were sold under the premise that you could buy them and give them to a child, and the child could learn how to code and play games on it. Little did I know that these were actually Raspberry Pi 3Bs. I was just trying to get my kids into coding. Neither one of them was really into it. So I had this Raspberry Pi laying around after it was done. So the cool thing about Raspberry Pis is that you just kind of take them and tinker with them and try out different things. And I thought I would try out an emulation setup on them. It was actually my first project that I started during COVID, was to take this Raspberry Pi and set up a Retropie setup on it. I've done it a few times now, constantly tinkering with it, taking things off, putting things on. So I thought I would just put up what my current build looks like. Still a work in progress, since you'll see in some of these menus that the videos aren't displaying correctly, and I'm sure that I have the videos on the card already. It's just that the XML from the links, the hard links from the XML document don't line up, or there might be a word misspelled. So some of the stuff isn't displaying, but for the most part, I wanted to go in and show off, the arcade games that I got on here, and how, I'm going back and putting them in the collections. For anyone who comes over and wants to play on the cabinet, it makes it easier to find some stuff. If you see at the bottom, I got 986 games in arcade here. I'll go into arcade for a second. So there's no sound. My capture card is acting wonky again, so we're gonna go without no sound today. It's probably for the best, considering that, depending on the game in here, I could be, hit with some type of damn YouTube strike. So moving on. Uh, I like having the arcade cabinet with the logo on the right and the video on the left. Pretty much my running theme throughout the rest of this whole build. In the console games, you'll come across I added the actual wheel logo up top above the box art. Kind of redundant having the extra logo, so I probably will, so you can see it right here with the Atari ones. You see the box art and then the logo above it. Kind of redundant, so I think I'm going to probably take that off. But yeah, 986 arcade games in here, ranging from, early 80s all the way up to mid to late 90s. Pretty cool stuff. But, who wants to scroll through 986 games just to find the one that they want? If you're looking for some popular stuff and you know who made it, or, the name of it, you might want to go into a collection. So I started the collections up. Capcom Classics. This is the type of stuff you would see on like the Capcom Arcade Collection on Xbox One or PS4. CPS1, 29 games. CPS2, 34 games. It's not all the games. I'm not trying to put quiz games in Japanese on here, so CPS3, 6 games. Konami. Didn't realize Konami was such a beast in the arcade, but you're looking at 77 games here. Probably would be closer to 85 to 90 if I added all the sports games that they were into. But just all the stuff that I was into, like Blades of Steel and Double Dribble, are on here. This G.I. Joe game looks wild. Yeah, it's interesting seeing the evolution of the arcades through these emulators now in MAME. Run and gun was my stuff. Midway Classics. For some of these games, because the Pi can't emulate, the Pi 3 that I'm using, it can't emulate some of the games that require CHID files. So I managed to, I decided to get the PlayStation versions of the arcade games that would normally go in this set. So you'll see a few PlayStation games in here, like BioFreaks, Hydro Thunder, Mortal Kombat 4. Cool little set. War Gods. Namco. So you know all the Dig Dugs, your Galagas, your Pac-Mans. Rally X, Pole Position. Still more to add there. And right now I'm using this this theme, Slick Pac-Man. I'm gonna go with Slick Brush. I like that one as well. It's basically the same theme, just different backgrounds. I tend to like the brush more. So, going back to the top here, let's see what we got. We got 986 arcade, 100 Atari, 20, 5200, 69, 7800. Don't mind Dreamcast. The Pi 3 doesn't really emulate it well, although I have found about 5 to 10 games that run it pretty well. I'm going to be doing some other testing on it. Like my next video, I'm probably going to test all of my Dreamboard ports along with Ian Michael's Dreamboard ports to see how they run on here. Maybe pad that section out a little more with some DC homebrew. Game Gear 299, Game Boy 520, Game Boy Advance 664, 699 Game Boy Color, 264 SMS, Genesis / Mega Drive 720, Neo Geo 135, Nintendo 759, Neo Geo Pocket 10, Neo Geo Pocket Color 63, TurboGrafx 109, and I have some Japanese games in some of these sets as well, so that's kind of why the numbers are a little different than what people are normally used to. TurboGrafx CD, 11 games. I went with a big PlayStation set in here. I'm big into fighting games, and I don't have a PlayStation, so I figured I'd use my Pi as a PlayStation emulator majorly to pad this build out. I didn't go for a lot of the old PCs, you know, like your Amstrad or your older PCs, so I went with more PlayStation. So you're looking at about 150 PlayStation games here. More or less games that would work well in my arcade cabinet. So not a lot of racing games, not a lot of you know, not any games that run off of analog sticks. Just, you know, digital controls, joystick and buttons. The good thing about PlayStation 1 is that the majority of the games run off of just a D-pad. So, you know, if I jump to a bigger card, I'm at 128 gigabytes. If I jump to a 256 gigabyte card, then, you know, I can fit way more games on here. 32X, 15, SNES 744, Super Graphics 5. So we're looking at close to 6,200 games here.